So in today's Let's Doodle, I'll be showing you how to do a very simple piece of neurographic style, Zentangle style art. I've got two to show you here that I've done previously, and I think we're going to base it on this one today, but I wanted to show you the variations just so that you can add your own twist to it if you prefer. So if you'd like to draw along with me, do grab your sketchbook. All I'm using today is a black marker pen, a black gel pen. For the colour, I'll just be using a gel pen. I haven't decided what colour to do this in yet today, but that will just come to me later. And I'm also going to use my circle template for the main circle. If you don't have a circle template, just have a look around your house for anything that's small that you can draw around. A small roll of tape. I often used to use my pencil sharpener before I got my stencil. Or yeah, anything that's round that you can draw around. I'm also going to be using a sheet of cartridge paper. This is just 140 GSM cartridge paper. It's nothing special, but it will do for practice. So I quite often start my drawings by drawing a border around the page. About 5-6 millimeters in from the edge. This gives me a definitive border to work to without running off the edge of the page and ending up colouring in on the table. So this drawing doesn't require any real experience with art. It's fairly simple, and I'm fairly convinced that you don't need to be too artistic to actually do this drawing. So I'm going to put my first circle on the page. I'm going to use the largest circle I've got on this circle template, and you can place this wherever you want on the page. Don't feel that you've got to do it in exactly the same place. You can just follow the concepts if you prefer, but I'm going to place this one towards the left and up a little bit. So we're kind of working in the top left quarter of the page, and I'm trying to make it the same distance from the top as it is from the left. I'm just going to draw around the circle, just like so. So the idea is now that we're just going to draw some sections out from the page. I'm using a black marker pen because the lines are quite thick, but you have to be careful that you'll get a little burr on the page if you hold the pen down too long. This will happen on cartridge paper, and it's not going to affect the overall design of your picture. It will be just something to consider. If you're using a mixed media paper, you might not get these burrs on the page, so that's just because I'm using cheaper paper. So this circle here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a line through it in pencil. These are guidelines which we can rub out later. And then I want to slice it like I'm slicing a piece of cake, and I want to make 6 sections. Now don't worry if they don't quite cross in the middle, and don't worry if some of these sections are a little bit uneven. These are just guidelines for us to figure out where to draw our main lines. So what I'm also going to do is draw 2 little lines in between to break each of these sections up into 3 more sections. I'm not measuring it, these are just little guidelines, and we'll rub these lines out later. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use this line and this line, not the first lines we drew in. We're going to draw a longer line just out from those sections, those new sections that we've drawn in. And then we can rub out the initial 3 lines that we drew. This is so we don't get confused by what we're doing. So all our main lines that we're going to draw will come out and start from these points on the page. I hope that makes sense. I've just realised my washing machine is going on in the background. I have a normal life as well, so yeah, sorry about that. I hadn't realised when I started. So if you can hear a bit of a in the background, that will be the washing machine. So what we're going to do now, well, we're going to draw some wiggly lines across the page, and try not to think too much about this, but be conscious that you want them to be a little bit wiggly. So I'm going to start on one of these sections here. Could really do with a close-up. I'm going to choose this top one here, and we're just going to draw a nice smooth wiggly line off to the right hand side of the page, and I'm going to aim to finish my line around here, but that might not happen because this is just being a little bit creative. But what I do find, if you look to where you want to finish the line, you stand a better chance of finishing the line in the right place. And this second section, this second line, I'm going to start on the next one down, and I'm going to try and follow the flow, but I want to finish just over here on the right hand edge. So I'm going to look to where I want to draw here and just glide my pen in a few wiggles across the page. And I'm just going to work my way around all these little sections. This one I've aimed to finish near the bottom, and this next one I'm going to finish down here. This one I'm going to finish down here. This one will just go over to the edge, and this one will go over to the top here. Not particularly happy with this one. It's gone a little bit skinny here. I could have done it a bit wider. Anyway, so this is the basic template for our drawing, and now we've drawn all those lines in, we can just rub out those pencil marks and we are good to go. So for this next stage, what we're going to do is we're going to draw some curved lines across all of these sections, and this will take a little bit of time and a little bit of patience, but it is worthwhile. So I'm just going to draw a little curve here between these two lines, and then I'm going to try and follow that curve and space the lines out about 1/2 centimetre. Now sometimes when I'm doing this, I find my lines stop looking curvy or they get too curvy. Try not to worry too much about that if that happens. Just try and correct it as you go, and sometimes you'll end up bringing the lines in a bit too far. Now this happens because quite often I don't think too hard about what I'm doing, and the whole premise behind neurographic and Zentangle style art is that you don't have to think too hard, and not thinking too hard means that you relax more whilst you're doing it. So don't be too harsh on yourself if you make a few mistakes. I'm finding it, the curves a bit harder to do because it's such a large space now. I'm going to bring them round just a bit. And we want to do exactly the same thing in every single one of these sections, and we want to follow the curves away from the main circle in the middle. So you could try out this pattern with the circle in a different position. I mean, you could even do it portrait. You'd have your circle down the bottom, but the basic premise is exactly the same. We want to create 6 spirally lines coming out of the circle. But I do encourage you, try it with 4, try it with 6, try it with 8. And you don't have to do this drawing exactly the same as I'm doing, as I've said. This is about experimentation, but what I thought I'd do was just show you some of the patterns and designs that I found simple and I found enjoyable when I was learning to do this style of art. I do find when I'm drawing I do sometimes forget to talk, so if I go quiet, that's why. So I am just using a gel pen on this drawing. You can use a fine liner, you can use your uni pen, you can use whatever you prefer. On this cartridge paper, the gel pens glide really well. And I feel like I've got quite good control over the pen. My lines are not perfectly smooth, they're a little bit jaggedy in places, but I'm not going to concern myself too much over that. Sometimes I find that having the jaggedy lines really adds to the effect of the drawing. I think sometimes maybe if it's too pristine, it looks like you could have just generated it on a computer. So this process of just repeating the lines across the page is actually just really relaxing to do. You don't have to think too hard about what you're doing. So I usually fast forward this section when I've got a lot of sections to fill in, but this one is such a quick drawing that I won't fast forward this section. But yeah, I would really encourage you to give this style a try. Don't feel like you have to create exactly the same picture. Use it for a bit of inspiration. Find your own pattern as your own path. If you are enjoying this video, do give me a thumbs up. That would be most appreciated. And do drop me a little comment in the comments below to let me know you're here and what you think, because your feedback is very, very useful. And also, actually, if there's any of my full process videos that you've watched that you would love to get a bit more detail on how to draw, then leave a comment on that video, the video that you like, and let me know that you'd like me to show you how to do it as a Let's Doodle, because I'd be very happy to do that. If there's a particular video that you like that I haven't already done as a Let's Doodle. Right, so we've got all of the sections filled in. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw in these little leaves. Now, I have a particular method for doing this. So I'm going to draw a particular style of leaf here. Over the months I have learned some new leaves and some new styles, and I might redo this one later with a different leaf pattern as well, just to give that a go, because I love exploring ideas and I love trying to merge the new ideas that I have excuse me, with the old ideas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3 lines coming out from this top section. I'm going to leave about, let's say, 1.5 inches, and I'm going to draw 3 more. 1, 2, 3. The middle one is coming out a bit higher on purpose. And I'm going to do the same along. I'm going to leave it roughly the same amount of space. 1, 2, 3, and another set here. 1, 2, 3. So to draw the actual leaf, I'm going to start on the middle line. I'm going to come out to a point and then round to the bottom. So I'll do that for all of the long stems. Now for these ones at the side, I'm going to try and put a little kink in the leaf. So I'm going to come round to a point, and then I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go round and try and put a little bit of a kink in. It didn't really work, did it? I'm going to go up, start at the bottom and go round to join, to put a little bit of a kink in. Don't worry too much about the direction. That one does look a little bit wonky, but hey ho. So when I'm trying to put a kink in, from the long ones I go straight to the top and round. For the ones I'm trying to put a kink in, I go round and I start from the bottom again. So we're going to do the same on all of these sections. Now you don't have a lot of room here, so it's worth thinking a little bit about where your lines are going to finish. If I finish up here, I won't have room to put a leaf in. So for this one, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then up, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and one more, 2, 3. So what we want to do is make sure that we drawing in some leaves all the way around, and some of them we get a little bit cramped around here, we do, and I think what I'll do is I'll work my way around. Do turn your work as you need to. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you find these slightly curvy leaves a little bit harder to do, there's no reason why you can't just draw them all like this one. And also don't worry if you're a little bit wiggly, because we're going to ink these in so you can touch them up a little bit. Got to watch my spacing. I'm going to make that the short one. If you find that you're drawing this and you haven't actually left enough room to do all 3 leaves, just draw 2, just draw 1. Quite often I'll be trying out a new pattern or a new design, and I do find, oh, I've not got room to do what I want to do, and just work with it, because that's how you end up coming up with new ideas, straying from, I'm doing these differently because I'm just talking. I'm straying from the patterns a little bit, can actually give you new ideas. So if your picture doesn't look exactly the same as this, don't worry, go with it, colour it in, enjoy the process of drawing, and then try again. You could, if you wanted, try to draw some extra leaves on this side. I'm not going to do that on this one because I'm trying to recreate some of my easy designs. But, you know, I might try it afterwards, because it does feel to me like there's a bit of space here, a bit of space here and here, which, you know, I could quite easily fill in with a little bit more decoration. So that is the basic drawing, and what we've got now is a nice little colouring page to colour in however we want. So what I'm going to do now is just fill in all of these leaves with my black gel pen. Now, there's a lot of leaves, and that can be quite a daunting task. But in doing this, I find anyway that it just gives a moment or two, maybe half an hour, of complete relaxation. You don't have to think about what you're doing. You know what you've got to do, and just gives you a few moments of complete peace and quiet. It stills your mind. And quite often I find myself just not thinking about anything in particular, but thoughts drift in and they drift out. It's almost like that sensation you get when you're falling asleep, where things pop in your mind but you don't overthink them and you don't worry about them. You just get these little random thoughts. And obviously, you know, sometimes when you're falling asleep you do get a random thought that makes you worry, but I don't find that happens when I'm doing this sort of drawing. So I just want to point out, I don't know if you can really see, I've overshot the line a little bit here with my other line. So what I'm going to do is just touch that up, just by gently thickening the line out. And over here, I haven't quite gone to the edge of the page, so I'm just going to touch those up. And as I'm working around the picture, colouring in these leaves, I'll notice little sections which might need a little bit of touching up. So if you find that yourself, you know, it's not cheating, it's not doing anything wrong, it's just refining your work as you go. You know, you might like to try this in a second colour rather than just inking them in black. I don't think I've tried that yet, but maybe I should add it to the list. I have a long list of patterns and drawings to do, and I go through my old sketchbooks and say, oh, I'd like to try that with this, or I'd like to try that in a different medium. And I don't always have the time to go back and do that, but I do have a list so that if I have a bit of one of those days where I'm just not really sure what to draw, because it might come across that my ideas are always flowing, but they aren't always flowing. And I can imagine that happens to a lot of people. You've got a little bit of time, you'd like to sit down and draw something, but you have no idea what to draw. So that's another reason for doing these Let's Doodle series, really. Maybe there's I don't imagine for a minute that you'd want to draw every single one of these tutorials that I've been doing, but there might be one that just inspires you, or that you like the pattern and you decide, yeah, I'm going to give myself some me time. I mean, I've tried things like meditation and yoga in the past, but I can't get into that, and I've tried, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who struggles to, you know, properly meditate. But for me, drawing like this has become that meditation process for me. And if I don't draw for a couple of days, I really do find that actually I just need to. I need to just give myself a few moments. And it's also about having a little bit of a sense of purpose as well. So I'm going to carry on and ink in the rest of these. I will stop recording for this. So if you're drawing along, you might want to stop or just watch the rest of the video. So yeah, I'm just going to pause the video here, and when I've finished all the leaves, I will start again. There, right, we've done that. That's good. So you can see everything's taking form a little bit already, and yeah, I would encourage you to experiment a little bit if you choose, or yeah. Right, so we've inked in all of the little leaves, and all that's left now is to colour in the spirals. Now you could choose to colour them in with black, that's totally fine, any colour that you like. I've got quite a lot of these gold glitter doodles gel pens kicking about, so I'm going to use those because they need using up. And it's very simple, this section. So I'm going to not colour in the section nearest the middle of the circle, but I will colour in this next one along. And I'm going to colour in every other section throughout all of these spirals. Now again, this is quite a daunting task. There's a lot of spirals to colour in. But just enjoy the process. Now I find when I'm using the gel pens, they are very easy to use for colouring in. I like to just get right up to the black line and fill in the edges, and then fill in the central part. And I'm just working my way along all the sections. Now with these glitter doodle pens in particular, but also when I'm using a regular coloured gel pen, I do find that they can sometimes take a little while to dry, so I try not to work over myself. But these glitter doodles in particular, if you do end up putting your hand over them, you will get covered in little specks of glitter which you can spread around the page. So yeah, I will try and work my way around the picture so that I'm not working over myself. So I'm currently posting a Let's Doodle video once every 2 weeks. But I'm also still posting my regular full process videos with no chat every Tuesday. So if that's your preference, then that's fine. I don't expect anyone to watch every single one of my videos, but I'm very grateful if you do. And I post a monthly review and chat once a month on the first Friday of the month. But if you're only interested in one sort of video and you don't want to get notifications for all of the videos, then do feel free to turn your notifications off for this channel, and these videos will just pop up in your feed when you come online. So yeah, you've just got to work your way around the drawing, filling in all of these sections, and then your drawing will be complete. So once again, I will pause the recording here and reconvene with you in about a second or two when I've finished colouring in all of these sections. So there you have it, a very, very simple but effective little design. Now I've changed this one slightly from its original. On this one I had the leaves coming out on the other side, and like I've already said, I would very much encourage you to try your own thing. So on this one I tried doing the lines along the sections. I wasn't quite as pleased with that one, but you know, it's all about experimentation. So if you're just starting out on your doodle journey, I'd very much recommend that you have a think about what you could do to make this different. You might decide to do a pattern in here, you might decide to add extra leaves, you might decide to add some little flowers even. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll be back with another Let's Doodle in 2 weeks' time, but meanwhile there will still be my full process videos every Tuesday and my monthly arty updates, and maybe I'll throw in a few others as well. We shall see. But yeah, thank you for joining me, and I hope to catch up with you again soon.